I thought selling my business for $90 million would be the happiest night of my life. I booked a table at the most expensive restaurant in the city and invited the two people I trusted most, my daughter and her husband. Everything seemed perfect until a nervous waiter slipped me a message that made my blood run cold. According to him, while I was away taking a phone call, my daughter had poured something into my drink. I did not know whether to believe him, but what happened after I switched our glasses changed my family forever. My name is Richard, and for more than 30 years, I built my company from nothing. There were nights when I slept in my office and months when I was not sure I could make payroll. Every sacrifice felt worth it when I finally sold the business for $90 million. The deal was finalized on a Friday morning, and by evening I wanted to celebrate with the people closest to me. My wife had passed away years earlier, so my daughter Emily had become the center of my world. I trusted her completely and believed she felt the same about me. That evening we arrived at the luxury restaurant overlooking the city skyline. Emily and her husband Ryan seemed unusually excited. At first I assumed they were simply happy for me. Throughout dinner they kept asking questions about the money, the investment accounts, and my future plans. I noticed it, but I dismissed it as curiosity. After all, families discuss these things. The atmosphere remained cheerful as expensive bottles of wine arrived, and everyone raised glasses to celebrate my success. About halfway through dinner, my phone rang. It was an important call from my attorney regarding the final transfer of funds. I stepped away from the table and moved toward a quiet area near the entrance. The conversation lasted only a few minutes, but when I finished, a young waiter approached me. He looked nervous and kept glancing toward my table. In a low voice, he told me he had seen my daughter pour something from a small bottle into my wine glass while I was gone. He apologized for interfering, but said he felt obligated to warn me. At first, I thought the claim was ridiculous. Emily was my daughter. I had raised her, protected her, and supported her through every stage of her life. Yet, the fear in the waiter's eyes seemed genuine. My heart began racing as I considered the possibility that he was telling the truth. Instead of confronting anyone immediately, I calmly returned to the table. Nobody seemed suspicious. Emily smiled warmly and encouraged me to finish my wine. That was the moment I made a decision that would reveal everything. While nobody was paying attention, I quietly switched my glass with Ryan's. The conversation continued normally. Emily laughed, talked about future vacations, and discussed luxury homes she wanted to buy. I forced myself to smile while watching every movement at the table. 15 minutes later, Ryan suddenly became pale. Sweat appeared on his forehead, and his hands began trembling uncontrollably. Within moments, he collapsed from his chair and crashed onto the floor. Panic exploded throughout the restaurant. Guests stood up in shock, while employees rushed toward our table. Emily screamed and dropped to her knees beside her husband. An ambulance arrived within minutes, and paramedics began treating him immediately. As they loaded him onto a stretcher, I noticed something that chilled me. Emily was not confused about what had happened. She looked terrified that the wrong person had consumed the drink. The police became involved after doctors discovered unusual substances in Ryan's system. Investigators reviewed security footage from the restaurant and quickly found evidence supporting the waiter's statement. The video showed Emily removing a small bottle from her purse and pouring its contents into a wine glass while I was away. Faced with undeniable evidence, she finally admitted the truth. $90 million did not change my life. The warning did. Instead of allowing wealth to destroy my life, I wanted it to create opportunities for others. The experience taught me a lesson I will never forget. Betrayal does not always come from strangers. Sometimes it arrives wearing the face you trust most. Yet, it also reminded me that truth has a strange way of revealing itself. On the night I thought I had gained everything, I discovered what was truly valuable. Money can be earned and lost, but character is priceless. And sometimes one brave waiter can change the course of an entire life. As I left the courthouse for the final time, I thought about that young waiter. He had no reason to risk getting involved, yet his courage saved my life. My daughter wanted my fortune, but in the process she lost something far more valuable: trust, respect, family. And every time I remember that night, I realize one thing: the $90 million did not change my life. The warning did.